They're just, it's a very interesting time really when it comes to how people get news and how people don't get news or what they're watching and not watching. I mean, obviously it starts on a local level and it can go to a national level. But like you said, when you go to the national level, there's so much money and, like you said, they're focusing on certain things. Yes, of course, they want to give you the news, but they are also there's a reason behind certain news coming through and certain news not. So, but yeah, on the local level, it is more about what is happening around you. I do wish that there was more of the, the lighter side of things as opposed to doom, murder, the car wreck, things like that.
Well,
but,
and I hear you, and everybody says that, but actions speak louder than words.
This is true.
And when people turn the news on and it's a feel-good story, they change the channel. But if you turn the news on and they're searching for the murder suspect and there's a helicopter over the woods and there's cops combing through stuff, or there's a police chase, you're glued to it. So it's the human nature that's there. Believe me, it's honestly, I think it's easier to do the lighthearted, good story, kid triumphs over cancer and wins state championship basketball game or something like that. All of those are great, but so many people change the channel for it. So it's the actions of it. So what does that mean? Does that mean that human nature is drawn to the tragedy that's there? And you could argue that because the original forms of entertainment were represented by two masks, a smiley mask and a frowny mask. So half of it is tragedy. All of the greatest things that we consider as forms of entertainment from way back in the day, the Odyssey and even biblical stories. What's almost every story in the Bible about? It's bad.
Yeah.
The whole world gets covered in water. Everyone's dead. Hey, we got a savior. Let's crucify him. All this stuff is bad, and it sticks around. And so is that how our minds are formed to where that just becomes the stuff that we want to be interested in? I don't know. It's more of a philosophical argument, but I can tell you it's not going to – I can tell you one thing. I worked at a television station. One of the first stations I worked for was WNWO, which great call letters for a wrestling game was NWO, in Toledo, Ohio. And when I first got there, the reason I got hired there was because they were doing a fun morning show. It was the NBC affiliate, and what they wanted to do was a local version of the Today Show before the Today Show. Oh. And so if you watch the Today Show in the morning, you get some news, but you also get Hoda, telling you the best Christmas cocktail, and stuff like that. And then cooking segments and stuff like that. So I was originally hired to do a bunch of very lighthearted morning show remotes, and it's National Pancake Day. I'm here live at the original Pancake House, and I'm going to make 17-inch wide pancakes, 3 stacks tall, and if I can't eat it in an hour, this person's going to win a prize, something like that. And that lasted for 6 months because nobody was watching. So we got new news leadership, and I came into work one day, and I'm like, next week I've got this fun thing and this fun thing and this fun thing, and they said, cancel all of that. You will come in, and you will be told what hard news thing has happened overnight, and then you will continue that story. So I'd come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd say, what happened? Well, at 1 o'clock in the morning, some guy robbed this liquor store. I'm going to the liquor store. That's the world that changed. To be fair, we still didn't get a lot of viewers because we had much better competition to watch. We were so low budget. This is such a low budget station that does not exist anymore. So, everyone who watches NBC News in Toledo, Ohio, those anchors that are anchoring that show are in a sister station in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there's 2 or 3 reporters that actually live in Toledo that are doing stories there locally, but the entire news team themselves is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I think you'll probably see a lot more of that consolidation. We're just going to have one studio. And I can see that, for instance, here in San Antonio, between here and Austin, if Sinclair has 2 stations, they have the San Antonio station, they have the Austin station. If they were smart, they would buy a nice big chunk of land right in between, put a big station there, sell the properties in Austin and San Antonio, and then just work from that. And then you would have this conglomerate. You save a ton of money from a real estate perspective and also from a talent perspective. If you could get people to not only do the news for this city, but a half hour earlier, we're going to record the news for the other city.
Right.
To be fair, that is something that happens here in San Antonio, where there is a station, and I forget where it is. It's some very small market, I believe in the Carolinas, where at 4 o'clock, the Fox anchor here in San Antonio will record their 5 o'clock news. And they record it as if it's live, and then they just air it over there. And to the casual viewer out there that just kind of is channel surfing and wants to know what the weather's going to be, they will not know the difference until that anchor mispronounces a town.
Yes.
That's the indicator that person ain't from around here. Brunfels, not Brunsfels. What are you talking about? They're not saying it right. They ain't from around here. So,
That's hilarious. Yeah, the highlight reels of local news will never stop being funny to me. And again, like you said, if you got somebody coming in from another city or state and they're new, or like you said, they're doing it from another city and then broadcasting over here, and they do misspell things, people will immediately pick up on that and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it. And it gets caught immediately because it just sticks out to people, that are from that area, which is the challenge in it. But here's the other side of it is if I was, let's say, that new anchor and I was doing it remotely, I would do it, I'd get caught, and then I would never make that mistake again. And then after about 6 months, you've screwed up every street name that you could possibly screw up. If someone got back to you with a snarky email or a tweet, and then you're like, okay, I'm never going to make that mistake again.
Yeah. Now, you guys have so many amazing people coming through NWA with so many legends, and obviously, you guys, the company itself goes back over 75 years. Are there people that have come through that you, or even people that you see on a regular basis that you're still kind of like, how am I here? Like, these people are here. What am I? Almost the imposter syndrome coming through.
I don't have that wiring in my brain that much.
Okay.
I've never had that where I've never particularly starstruck with one clear-cut example where I definitely was. So, like, even when I worked in the news, I interviewed Bernie Sanders on the campaign trail. I interviewed Mitt Romney. I interviewed all these different politicians, and I interviewed celebrities as well. But the only one that I was really starstruck with was Palm Springs, and I was covering the Palm Springs International Film Festival. For those of you who don't know, that is the technical first award show of award season. So before the Emmys, before the Oscars, before the Golden Globes, there's the Palm Springs International Film Festival, which happens the first weekend of the new year. So whatever, January 1st, whatever that next weekend is, they have it because they want to be the first one to do it. And honestly, I think people just want to have an excuse to escape and go out to Palm Springs from Los Angeles. It's a short drive. It's very doable. I got to interview Steven Spielberg on the red carpet.
Wow.
And I made it through the interview well. Like, my hand wasn't shaking or anything like that. But, like, there is this moment where I'm like, all right, Mr. Spielberg, thank you so much for your time. And, like, my shoulder turns and you can see my face. And I look like a 10-year-old boy. I just interviewed Steven Spielberg. Do you understand how much I fucking was obsessed with Jurassic Park as a child? Jaws? Are you insane? Like, this guy made every movie that, like, forged my entire youth. And so that was the only one where I got, like, super starstruck. The people where, like, it kind of hits me later, to be honest with you, when I go and I see clips of me doing commentary with Jim Cornette. Like, it's like, oh, I did commentary with Jim Cornette. That's crazy. That's nuts. I mean, he is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling managers. He's on there. Like, you can't leave him off. Like, it's fantastic. No. And I mean, so, and then, meeting Ric Flair, that sort of stuff. And that's always going to be very special for me when he was at 73. I think it was 73. And then, working with a lot of the other legends that have come through, and then, our current legends and stuff, guys like EC3, and stuff like that. But, so it's never really a starstruck sort of thing of like, oh, I can't believe right now, I can't believe I'm in the same room as Austin Idol. But it definitely is kind of cool. And if you're going to get starstruck with anybody, you're going to get starstruck with the boss, because nobody has more international appeal. Well, I think in Hollywood they call it a Q rating. Like, can you go to a mall, show someone a picture, and they know who they are? In wrestling, we say that person's over. No one's more over than our boss. When we put tickets on sale for a new place, if we have an upgraded VIP meet and greet with Billy Corgan, those tickets sell first. So,
of course.
Because he's over. He's the one going on tour with Green Day and Weezer and doing international stuff. Going to be all over Europe this summer and stuff. So, he's the big deal, and he's obviously, and talk about, guys that have shaped my life, growing up in Southern California, listening to 106.7 KROQ. I mean, Pumpkin's got a ton of spins there. So,
of course.
It's that, all of that is crazy that I work for a rock star, of which I bet he's texted me 6 times during our phone call today. So, he never, I'll tell you one thing, I don't know, a lot of people do podcasts and they talk about Billy. The man is a workaholic. Holy jeez. It's a good thing that he doesn't drink or do drugs or eat gluten, or meat. He's vegan, and somehow that powers him throughout the day. I think he sleeps maybe 4 hours, and if he's not booking wrestling and dealing with us doing this crazy carnival of wrestling it is there, he's dealing with this crazy carnival of music and his tour, and he's writing new songs, and he has the tea house in Chicago, and he's raising 2 kids. It's crazy the amount of stuff that he does, and he never stops. Like, I'm never like, what you up to, boss? He never says, getting up from a nap. Like, it's never like, he's always going. And it's always like this incredible force, and it's impressive to me. Like, I consider myself that I work very hard, and, especially coming from news, you never get to stop. Because, you go in for work one day, but I can't go to my newsroom meeting if I go in and I'm doing a day side shift and the meeting's at 9:30. I can't go to that meeting and say, well, I don't know what I'm doing today. Tell me what you want. No, you have to come in with 3 potential stories. One of them should already be set up with an interview, which you probably had to do the night before. And you never end. There's a lot of working off the clock to try to make it successful when you are on the clock. And so I'm very used to that. And so I can do it to a certain extent, but never to the level of my super multimillionaire rock star boss.
Well, I mean, at least he's showing you what a good work ethic really can look like.
I honestly just don't. I need sleep, man. Like, I don't get it. I guess it's we should all be vegan and gluten free, maybe. I don't know. Just clean living. You don't need to sleep as much, and you can do that much. It's crazy to me that it's possible for him to do all that.
Maybe one day you too could be plant powered and just never have to sleep.
I guess that could be the way to go, man.
So I have a segment on the show. I call it the 5 count. Just 5 random questions. Just answer as quick as possible.
Ooh, I like this.
What's your go-to breakfast order?
Order? If I'm out? Like not that I'm making it home. Okay, a go-to breakfast order: Eggs Benedict.
Ooh, any kind or just regular Eggs Benedict?
I would like the traditional. Here's the problem. This is where you go to some fancy place and you see Eggs Benedict on the menu and you order Eggs Benedict and you didn't look at the caption underneath and it's some deconstructed weird version of it and it's like, if you're gonna put it on the menu, it should be the thing that it is. If it's your version of it, give it a different goddamn name.
Yeah.
if you could go someplace, a good diner, someplace like